I am your host, the dopest political analyst on this planet and the most feared former congressional and senatorial candidate of these United States. Anton Tucker, Tony Montega, Tone Montega, the truth, the threat, the legend, Neo. And we're here. We're unable to start output. This output is configured on your main encoder output. Blah 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 blah. There's something that's wrong with OBS. I think that it's just an issue with OBS. I'll try to re-download it. But shout out to everybody who's coming in the building. Let's get X to be able to view everything. Shout out to everybody. I have a co-host who's going to join in a few moments, or should be joining in a few seconds. The live, and once they join, we'll be able to start it. We're going to kind of break down and go over the fraud in California. We're also going to make sure that we break down the fraud happening in Minnesota, but we're going to do that on another day. Today we're going to stick to breaking down the fraud. Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hey, so what's going on? So shout out everyone. This is Kimberly. So everyone watching and that will see her in the future. This is Kimberly, and um, and this is the let's just say the big boss behind the scenes. One of the big bosses. We're gonna get in. We're gonna talk about the California fraud. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on with OBS. Um, it's a shame because I really would have liked to have been able to pull the stuff up that we had on screen. But as I'm looking at it right now, it says this output is configured to use your main encoder output built in the stream, which is not currently active. Please start your main encoder first. Yeah, so it's hard for me to go live on the other platforms, but I will make sure that I do get this out while we're talking. So let's just start off. I don't think that there'll be a Gavin Newsom running in California. What do you think?
Well, I think that the Dems are typically very clueless and they don't really read the room very well. So I think they'll run with him anyway and assume that people aren't paying attention. But the amount of fraud that's coming out, I think, is significant. And I think it's really going to hamper his chances. It's certainly going to give the Republican Party, a lot of opportunity to go up against him and throw a lot of stuff at him that I think it's going to be hard for him to get anywhere.
What do you think the chances are of there being any connection possibly to him being involved in any of the alleged fraud? Is that like $76 billion?
It's about 76 billion. I mean, there was a 92-page report. I know you talked about it in the last show or a couple shows back. There's a significant amount of SNAP fraud, 2.5 billion. 32 billion in COVID fraud. They had homelessness initiatives, a 9/11 system that they were developing for 911 was scrapped. The high-speed rail. I mean, there's a lot of ammunition, and so I think that's really going to work against him.
Let's talk
And
about the high speed rail. I know you've done an extensive amount of investigating on the high speed rail. How do you not how do you let's oh, how do you spend $100 million and not have over a mile of high speed rail undone? And how much was spent so far?
it's actually $18 billion have been spent over 12 years, maybe 100 feet of track. There's reports from no track to up to 1,000, but it's a game. They played with the land acquisition. They used eminent domain and federal grants to acquire the land, and they sold it back to each other, back and forth, and sold it to the developer. Everybody using federal money every time, and it's I mean, when all of the information comes out about that, that's going to be a major scandal. There's just no way to get around that. But it ties back to the royalty of California, the Feinsteins, the Pelosi's. It's a real thing, and there's a paper trail. It's significant.
Do you think that it would be? You know what I don't hear enough of? How, because we know Hunter was doing all of these things and with Burisma and everything else, but was the Pelosi kid involved in that too? Wasn't
Uh,
Perry's son involved in it too?
well, I mean, Pelosi is actually related to Newsom. They're related. They're part of the same family. You know, Paul Pelosi was doing the land deals, and I know there were some Feinstein's husband and some of her other family members. Like I said, they're going to be pulling out all the details of this as it comes out. And there's so many different levels of fraud. I mean, even going back to the fires and whatnot, there's been a lot of money spent and appropriated in California that is not going where it's supposed to go, and nobody can account for it. So it's a real thing. The investigation is the country is going to turn their eyes to this state because I happen to be in California, and they're really going to dig into this, which is going to hamper his presidential chances significantly.
I mean, if people was if the people urinating in the streets of San Francisco, and if it wasn't for the people uh, openly using drugs, out in the street. If that wasn't enough to not have this guy have the gall to consider running, to watch him do what he's done, and to watch him have that sinister, snarky smile. I mean, you have to be the sickest son of a bitch on this planet. You know what I mean? Like, it's past the point of someone even. I don't know. I just can't understand why. But people are paid to promote and I couldn't understand it. And then you have the fact that all of those illegals were voting in. Was it Prop 50 you was talking about?
Prop 50, yep, Prop 50, which is they're starting to dig into voter rolls right now. There's quite a few initiatives um, that they're working through right now to put voter ID on the ballot. But there has been some investigation into the voter rolls and legitimizing the people that are on the rolls right now. And they've already, in a matter of a few days, have come up with at least 3.3 million ineligible voters. So they go county by county, and it's significant. So, in other words, Prop 50, for an example, in San Luis Obispo County, Prop 50 passed by 11,000 votes. And right now, there are about 12,000 ineligible voters on the rolls. Sacramento County passed by about 95,000 votes. And right now, there's about 98,000 ineligible. So it's just outside of, they had just enough to pass. And that is true in San Diego, Ventura, Orange County. They're really starting to dig in. So there's a lot of ammunition, as I said, from a presidential standpoint. But this state is such a huge economy. It's the seventh largest in the world.
But it used
Uh,
to be, I think it used to be the fourth at one point.
we have lost, well, we've had a mass exodus. One of the interesting statistics was the number one customer for United Van Lines leaving one way is California and Colorado. They're leaving in droves. So even the tax base, they're losing, revenue to actually fund all these things. So we went from a surplus to a mass deficit right now. It's significant. Absolutely.
And then the large oil manufacturers, and they closed down their refineries too in California too. The majority of them.
Benicia refinery just closed. They spent $1 billion to be able to close their refinery down to leave, to actually expedite their leaving. They couldn't even sell that refinery. And they would expend $1 billion just to be able to shut down and leave. It's pretty big. And then we start
Someone
talking
said my
about
mic isn't working. Hold on, let me see something real quick.
$1
One two one
just to
two
be
one
able
two
to
one
shut
two
down and leave.
one two one
It's
two
pretty
one
big.
two one
And
two.
then we start talking about
I don't know. I hear myself.
I hear you. I hear you.
So maybe this mic isn't working. Let me switch mics.
Okay, sounds good. But we're,
Thank
you
you,
know,
whoever that was in the chat.
yes, appreciate that. We're trying to work through our little technical problems tonight, so. And we haven't even talked about the Palisades issue as well. And the $800 million raised through fire aid that hasn't reached one victim.
Okay. I don't know. Let me hold on. Wait. Let me just check the mic.
Mm. Mm.
That is extremely strange.
Are you back on?
Wow. All right, I should be back on now. I don't know what's going on with my. I'm not letting the mic work. You should be able to hear me now.
I got you. I heard you before, but we want to make sure everybody else can hear, of course.
All right, let me just see if everyone can hear me. Hold on. One two one two one two one two one two one two one two. Hey everybody, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, yeah, everyone can hear me. All right, so we didn't even talk about
Excellent.
the Palisades. All right, let's get into it now. Let's move this out the way. Yeah, you guys. Again, I'm sorry for the technical difficulties. I don't know what's going on with the streaming software tonight. I tried to use the streaming software. I should have been able to use it. We had a ton of stuff that we were supposed to put on the screen to show you guys. So I'm sorry that. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Curly.
Yes.
Uh, so I'm sorry I wasn't able to show it. But OBS is just not allowing me to from um, stream from YouTube. I don't know why. I think it's because of us sharing it. I'm not sure yet. So we'll kind of figure that out. But we are breaking down the California fraud. So I have the lovely Kimberly in the building. This is my business manager. So if anyone wants to talk in the future, business purposes, information is located below. If anyone feels like she's extraordinary, if you want to see more of her, please let me know in the chat because I would love for her to come in and have days where she's doing content herself, where she's coming in and she's doing content herself, which would be dope. And also her information, if anyone likes what she's doing and you want to donate, her PayPal is in there too. So we're going to kind of break down California fraud. So what we did get into so far was the rail system, and I'll let her go over the amount of money that was spent on it again. And just the sheer destruction in California at this particular point in time, it's just the machine, outside of California, right? Because this is just bigger than California. This is happening all over the country. So the machine is at a point where everything that they thought they had nailed down is pretty much over. You know what I mean? Like they screamed out their minds for healthcare, but now we all find out is because not only is it Somalians that are scamming. I mean, they just got a bunch of people using this system in order to, to enrich themselves. But
Absolutely.
I do want to make sure that we maintain the focus on California. And since you are our expert located in California right now,
Yes.
um, California went from being the state that people ran to get rich, that the people are now running from because it's making them poor. And
It's a mass exodus. Yeah.
I want you to the audience to give us. I don't want to just give you the floor, but I want you to just break down to us, if you have, the information in front of you, just some
Mhm.
levels of what the actual fraud is. Like, we want to know about the railroad.
We want to know about the fires, especially the fires. Please make sure you bring up the fires, the money that was wasted in it. But also, we want to know about the homelessness fraud too as well. So pick a lane, educate us, break us down. Let us hear it.
So the auditors were looking through. They have a 92-page report investigation on the losses and the spending, and they cannot track where this money has gone. There's been SNAP fraud to the tune of about $2.5 billion, 32 billion with COVID relief programs. They can't even track what's happened with it. 24 billion on homelessness initiatives. And there are encampments in San Francisco and all over the state. And that we actually have more homeless than we had before. $18 billion has been spent on the high-speed rail project, and they haven't laid any track whatsoever. Some reports say zero, some say up to 1,000 feet of track, but for the most part, that money is gone. There's was $650 million allotted for a 911 system revamp. It failed, and they bailed out on it. And billions spent on the Palisades with no homes built. With the fire aid effort, there was 800 million raised, and none of that money has gone to victims. Not a penny. So we have a real situation with not being able to track where this money is going, and that is going to be under high scrutiny. Um, there are many saying that with all of the healthcare fraud and the daycare fraud that we're seeing, that pales in comparison to what's been happening in California. And
It's been
being
happening
such a
for a
large
long time.
economy, oh, it's a long time. Well, there's been a dynasty of rule in this state. It's been Pelosi, Newsom, Feinstein. There's been a stranglehold, a supermajority in the state house and Senate, which we're trying to break. Um, they did there's been a lot of voter fraud on Prop 50 to pick up the 5 seats for the House, because they're trying to offset some of the other changes that are up at SCOTUS right now, where they're looking at the redistricting that has happened over the course of the last 10 years and the legitimacy of that redistricting, because it was based on racial lines and not actual district demographic. And they're probably going to undo that, which would really put up for grabs 19 seats that could go red across the country. So this is a power grab with Prop 50, and that even that passing has been in question. With the voter ineligible voters that had the opportunity to vote, and it's been studied county by county, and they're starting to audit that. So there's a lot of movement here and a lot to unpack, um, but it's a definite situation. And meanwhile, Newsom is still the number one candidate for the Dems right now.
And that
Um,
shows you how bad of a pool they have if this guy is still their number one guy. If the guy who destroyed California's economy is the number one guy that they want to go to run to represent their party, it shows you how pathetic these people really are. And the only thing that they can go on is that, oh, he looks incredible. He looks great. He looks like the sickest person that I mean, he looks like the devil. He really looks like the devil.
yeah,
Like the guy doesn't look slick. I don't know what women are seeing, but like I look at that smile and I'm like, white van, probably got gloves and tape in the back of it. Like he comes off as the Dahmer kind of guy. Like, you know what I mean?
he
Like
does.
if it wasn't for his current gig, I could see him with a white van with some duct tape in the back of it. Like, you know what I mean? Like he
It
looks
might
like
be
this.
his future. Yeah,
And I know for some people they say, "Oh, this may seem harsh," but look, man, these people are the greatest actors. They go to acting school. They learn how to act. They learn how to project their voices, act as if they care, seem as if they care. Remember, there was a lady who was outside the fire home, and she was like, When are we going to be able to build?" He was like, "I'm talking to the president now." And that's when she pulled his coattail. She was like, "Well, let me speak to him too. Let me hear him too." And he was like, "Well, I'm
right.
not getting him on the. How are you on the phone with the president? Come on." And then, had that been, if this has been any other time in history, This man set fire to California, and you seen him all but once on a television and haven't seen him ever again. Like, does anyone even know what's happening with this guy? Have you looked into it?
Oh yeah, I mean, the interesting part about them still backing Newsom at all is that it tells me two things. One, they have nobody on the bench they can put out. This is the best they've got for the left. And the other issue is that they think we're stupid, that we're not paying attention to what he's done or what he's doing. And that's a real issue, that they literally think that all of the tactics that they've used in the past are going to
Silly
work
reason
this
you've
time.
cried. I'm gonna answer. I'm gonna answer this. Someone said, "Silly reason you've cried."
Hmm?
A silly reason I've cried. Someone
Oh,
asked
you're
a
getting
question. Yeah, someone
getting
asked a question. Someone said, "A silly reason you've cried." A silly reason? Watching my little girl at her sweet 16 party. And for some of you, you may think that it's silly, but for me,
not silly.
it was not silly. So yeah, that's the answer.
Never silly.
Watching my baby girl at her sweet 16. But she's not my baby girl. I got a little daughter on the way soon. But yeah, watching my 16-year-old at her sweet 16.
That's never a silly reason to cry. Your children are the best reason. Those are happy tears. Happy
Yeah.
tears. Absolutely.
I don't know. I haven't cried in a long time. Uh,
Well, that's a good thing and a bad thing. I mean, not you know, happy tears are good, and we have to still be optimistic even with all the stuff that's happening. I think we have so much alternative media out there right now that's really helping support people, and I think the power that was given to the domination of the Dems in mainstream media or traditional media is gone. They've broken the hold.
they have no
Even
money. They have no money. None. No money.
and they have
In
no
order to go to
flex.
war, like the strangest thing for me is how people don't really see what's happening, right? So look, you have this new world order, right? This new world order, this group of people. And although people love to blame the Jews, they hate the fact that when I'm speaking, I make the most sense, right?
Mhm,
So in this government, you had bad, very bad people, people who came from the Nazi actual era, and we took their scientists, Project Paperclip, so on and so forth. You had the Bushes who actually worked with the Nazis and ran the Nazi bank in New York,
mhm.
right? Some people, like I said, they love to blame the Jews, but they don't go to the root of the problem. You know what I mean? So in our lifetime, what I've seen Donald Trump do, and then for people who was balls to the walls for him, for them to have so much flack for him, but still not really understand what it is that he's done, you know, you have America, who is completely in debt to basically a foreign conqueror, which is the globalized banking system, right? This
Mhm.
guy's running up the numbers on cryptocurrency to help pay off the debt, making it a legal form of tender because shit is really nothing and you're going to pay off a bunch of something with nothing. But then
Right.
also use the tariffs to pay down the bankers too as well. That way we can completely absolve them. Now, what we did witness was this system try its best to stop him from actually taking over. Like this is like some real mafia stuff that we're seeing in our time right now. Like this is a new family takeover. Like this is Gotti, removing Castellano. Like you know what I mean? Like this is what we're
It's
seeing in real time. Like yeah, this is
yeah.
what we're seeing in real time from the
Mhm.
educational system, from their indoctrination in that, from their continuous destruction of the family unit, using perverted images and stuff on children, to them chemically inducing the children to create sexual abnormalities. All of these things, not only has it been exposed during his time in public office, but it's also been stopped during his time in public office. And now, for people to say, oh, it's about the oil, it's about the oil, it's really the cherry on top. But if you understand, Israel can't control America because Israel doesn't give the money its value. The people who control you are the people who give your currency its value.
Right.
The value of the dollar is based on the contingency of oil. You
Hmm.
trade it in American dollars. This is why it became the American reserve currency. This is why we so sharp with with the Saudis. Now, what Trump did was chess, befriended them, showed them a ton of respect because they deserve it, right? You
Hmm.
bring these guys in,
Absolutely.
you allow them to participate in the American dream, allow them to control an industry. They have Ring Magazine. This is the most prestigious boxing organization in the world ever. Period. This is the
Hmm.
Bible of boxing, and the
Hmm.
Saudis own it, right? So
Hmm.
you give them something that's so pure, so beautiful, but in the background, you realize you're about to go remove this guy, and the the combined oil of Venezuela and these United States of America
Hmm.
puts us as the number one oil export on the globe.
Right. I mean, Venezuela is a long discussion. I mean, I know you started touching on it yesterday, and we're going to see the implications of what happened in Venezuela over the course of the next couple of weeks, certainly, because there's a lot of other unstable entities that are tied to Venezuela. There's a lot of issues, as you mentioned yesterday.
Well,
So,
I'm glad you touched on it, but I'm gonna break it down to you, right? They didn't go in there and go get that man without having permission from his number two and from his military. That's the reason why it was only the Cubans that were firing at the United
sure,
States, and pretty much everyone else stood down. They all have comms. Everyone has
you
comms.
bet.
The radios were hot. Everyone knew that they were, were being attacked and invaded. The skies was
Mhm.
full of American helicopters and warships
You
passing
bet.
through, and all of them knew to stand down. All of them understood that this is not what it was. So it was just the one base that interacted. And the reason why he had so many Cubans there is because he knew he couldn't trust his own army as
His
it
own.
stood. Yeah, the Cubans were there actually to intimidate his own army that was there because he was afraid of them taking the 50 million, which they did. We
Yeah.
have control over all communications. Everything that's coming out of there that they say or whatever, we know everything that they're saying. We know when that woman went to defecate today, the new acting president, when she went to take a crap today, we knew what time it was. We knew how long she sat there on the toilet, and we knew exactly what she did when she was in there. If she wiped, didn't wipe, we know everything. So yeah, as far as us worrying about someone else trying to infiltrate and going in there, like that's completely done. Now what happens is we get to send people home who really want to go home. Uh, get investments out there, which is just going to continue the American enterprise. Allow our businesses to go out there and create industries, and then allow the people to become rich there, play a part of the process. But the oil is ours, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah. And most of the oil concerns out there were actually built by American companies anyway. So now they're going to help them get their footing back. They're going to kick out the bad guys, not give them a place to have a haven. That would be, Iran, Russia, China. Everybody wanted their fingers into Venezuela, and we're now in between that, which is a big thing. And we're all watching the rest of the world. We're watching Cuba right now, and we're watching Iran in the Middle East in general. So there's a lot of turmoil. A lot's going to come from what happened in Venezuela.
Well, I believe that we could be gearing up also for a conflict, and the main adversary would be China. And the great thing about it is they don't really have oil. It's the
They
reason
do
why
not.
they need, yeah, there's the reason why they need their oil from everybody.
You
They're not going
bet.
to come over here to try to take our oil from out of Venezuela because it's not their oil, it's our oil. And right before this conflict started, they actually shot a missile out that was not too far from Taiwan.
Hmm.
So trying to provoke it. So this was muchly needed also, so they can have a clear understanding that we're not going to play with them. Like this is just not a game. For people who are upset, who's like, oh, we don't need war, we don't war. But what people don't understand is that when you have the best of everything, people will want to take it. It's just like if
Absolutely.
you were walking down, the middle of DC before Trump got there, and you had on some nice jewelry. Someone might want to take it from you. You walk through New York City Times Square late at night with some nice. Somebody's gonna want something that you have. You got a hot lady. Guys are gonna look at her. The moment you turn your back, someone's gonna try her. Someone wants
It's
what you
true.
have. So America has hot women, a bunch of jewelry, nice cars, and big homes. And there are people who want it. That's the reason why
Yeah.
they've scammed the system. That's the reason why they've stolen from the system, is because people are trying to destroy this country. And I understand what people was like, well, I don't want this or I don't want that. But what they don't understand is that if we're not maintaining a forceful way of leading the world, then someone will do it to us.
When you're in the at the top, everybody's trying to knock you off and take your place. That's just the way, that's just the way of life. That's the playground mentality. That's you we all are raised with that understanding.
But that's what the private bankers was trying to do too, Kim.
Oh yeah,
So yeah, allowing China to buy up a bunch of our debt, right? So everyone
huge
could call
mistake.
in on it. Yeah, but that's what they did. They allowed
Mhm.
China to fly balloons over. China was looking at real estate, saying where they're going to have this place at. They are renaming names in their little secret rooms on the map. And the private banketeers, the Rothschilds, the people who control it, they're telling them like, yeah, yeah, we've sacked them. They're pretty much done. They're not coming back from this. And then don't worry about it. And then lo and behold, this man takes the bullet and then he says, I'm not going to come out and tell people about the conspiracy. Of course, you can't come out and just say things that you want to say. You have to be able to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. That way, they can't use that Mockingbird apparatus to try to make you seem like you're crazy. You know
You
what I
bet.
mean? But
Hmm.
so watch this shit happen, and for him to go ahead and play this kind of chess move, for people to argue and say, "Oh, he should have never came and got him." Well, the guy asked us to go get him.
He did. He did. He said, "Dare me. I dare you to come get me." And there we are. We're there, right there. They had Shrek McPhee, John McPhee, who was a former Delta Force, talking about that operation, and they worked on that for months before they practiced it. They did it blindfolded, so they had a really good understanding to get in and get out as quick as they did. And yes, even with permission, they still had to be in lockstep all the way across. But being there, China doesn't, like you mentioned, China and oil, and they don't have any. They were getting oil using Venezuela. It was a way to avoid the sanctions that were
Hmm.
that were keeping them from actually getting the oil. So they were using Venezuela for access to oil. But there was so much poverty there. I mean, none of those industries are even operating properly. There's been 8 million uh, Venezuelans that have fled. It's like the largest mass migration and humanitarian crisis like on the globe right now, of them leaving from you know having to eat animals out of the zoo, the starvation, the loss of their wealth and their homes. I mean, they had no choice but to leave. So this is a yes, we know what's motivated it, but the far-reaching implications for so many and globally, it's pretty big. It's a huge deal. And it's going to trickle down into in a lot of things that we're moving forward. And a lot of information about what's been going on in this country will come out because of it, because of our presence in Venezuela, as you touched on yesterday as well.
With the with the list with the names,
You bet.
with all of those dirty, dirty, dirty people.
You
You
betcha.
guys, I enjoyed having her here, and I am going to make sure that I have her back. What are you doing tomorrow?
I'm sitting right here. I'll meet you at 8 o'clock.
So 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I'm gonna bring you back, and you guys, I'm sorry I couldn't have the stuff on the screen. Like I said, just OBS is just not allowing us to stream from this point. But I'm gonna try to take our time tonight so we can figure it out. Shout out to you, Kimberly. I appreciate you coming to the building and having a talk.
Thank
You guys, if you want to know about the California fraud, we kind of went over it at the beginning of the show. She broke down crazy numbers. I mean, you want to give us a go ahead again? How much did they not spend on the railroad, but they took from the railroad?
18 billion, $18 billion, and they have nothing. They have one nail in the ground. That's about it. Nothing has happened.
How much
It's
was wasted and stolen on homelessness?
24 billion, 24 billion, 32 billion on COVID relief, 18 billion on the rail, 650 million on a 911 system that does not work, and they scrapped it. Bye-bye. And $800 million in fire aid that has disappeared. It's just nowhere. No one's gotten it. And not one housing permit has even been issued yet. Amazing.
Amazing. You guys, it was Kimberly here with me tonight, and it was amazing having her.
Thank
Stay
you.
safe, stay healthy, stay American, and remember, it's both sides. I know I showed the list yesterday. Two
Yes.
wings on the same dirty, dirty, dirty bird. Good night, everybody. Thank you, Kim. I'm gonna have you
Thanks.
here
Good night.
tomorrow. It was good having you
Thanks.
here.
was great to be